There are two kinds of departures from Ganymede Station. The kind that happens at noon, with cleared traffic lanes and a cooperative officer waving you out of the slot, and the kind that happens at 4 in the morning, when the only person watching is a tired controller halfway through her second cup of coffee. We were doing the second kind. Slot 41, 0417 station time. I stood at the dock console with my hand on the file authorization and tried to remember if I had ever, in 15 years of flying, filed a clean flight plan I actually meant. I read the line one more time before I confirmed it. General Survey Sweep, Outer Systems. Estimated return, 40 days. The words were honest enough to pass and dishonest enough to matter, which on Ganymede is the only kind of honesty available to a man like me. General Survey Sweep, Outer Systems. I said it out loud to myself, like a prayer I didn't quite believe in. Then I tapped confirm. Appreciate it. She didn't ask where I was going. I didn't volunteer. That's the agreement at 4 in the morning. 3 days, maybe 4. That's how long a vague flight plan buys you before an admiral with my father's old service record starts asking the wrong questions. After that, every hour is borrowed from somebody who is going to want it back. The Meridian Fault drifted free of slot 41 at 0421. Ganymede time. Nobody important was awake to see us go. I'm Declan Shaw. This is Saul's Edge, and this is the episode where we stop pretending we might turn back. Chapter 1. Slot 41. The fault cleared the station ring at a crawl. Thrusters cold on the gimbals, just enough impulse to put distance between us and the docking arm. Ganymede rotated under us in the viewport. A slow lit crescent, the colony lights threaded through the ice like circuitry. I watched it for longer than I needed to. When you leave somewhere quietly, you take a different version of it with you. Loud departures only carry the noise. I keyed the intercom from the cockpit. Tomás, talk to me.
Drive's hot. Coils nominal. First sprint window in 18 minutes.
Anything I should know?
Plenty. Nothing about the drive.
He cut the line before I could decide whether that was a joke. With Tomás, it usually wasn't, but he gave you space to imagine it might be. That was generous of him, considering. I left the cockpit on autopilot and walked the spine. Ship night lighting still on. Soft amber along the deck strips. The kind of light that lets you move without waking anyone you'd rather let sleep. The lab hatch was open. Amara was already inside. 3 displays running. Hair tied back. A coffee bulb clipped to the console that, judging by the scorch ring on the seal, had been there since before I'd undocked. She didn't look up when I passed. That wasn't avoidance. That was Amara at work. A woman who had decided sometime in the last 6 hours exactly where in the data she was going to start digging, and was not going to look away from it for the duration. I didn't interrupt her. I have learned over the years that there is no faster way to make Amara Osei dislike you than to interrupt her arithmetic. I kept walking. The observation port on the Meridian Fault is a 4-meter span of reinforced glass at the dorsal aft, designed for survey work. If you stand at the rail with the lights down, you can see almost half the sky. Cross was there. He had been there since we undocked. He stood very still, hands behind his back, the station lights shrinking on the glass in front of him. I've spent enough time around men who have lost crews to know what that stillness was. It wasn't grief exactly. It was the stillness of a man who had done this exact thing once before, 42 years ago, and was watching the universe ask him whether he was prepared to do it again. First sprint cycle starts in 20 minutes. You'll want to be strapped in.
I remember the feeling.
Right. I left him there. There was nothing I could say to a man going back to the place that had erased him that wouldn't sound smaller than what he was carrying. We hit the first sprint burn at 0439. Ganymede dropped behind us at 0.15 C, and the belt opened up ahead. Black, scattered, indifferent. The kind of dark that doesn't notice you arriving. Chapter 2. What the manifest says. 2 days into transit, the fault had settled into the rhythm a ship gets after the first few sprint coast cycles. 8 hours of burn, 18 of drift, the hull ticking through its thermal recovery like a sleeping animal. We were good at this part. We had done it together 100 times. Tomás had not been good at this part for 2 days. I noticed it the way you notice weather change. Nothing he said. Nothing he did differently. Just the fact that he was running diagnostics he didn't need to run. Pulling fabrication logs. Checking serial numbers against shipyard records. The kind of deep archival dig he does when he's worried and won't say so. I let him work. Tomás does not respond to being asked. He responds to being given room to arrive. He arrived on the morning of day 3. I was in the galley with my second coffee when he came down the spine. Slower than usual, hands clean. He'd finished what he was doing before he came to find me. That was the part that worried me. Tomás does not finish a job before he tells you something unless he wants the moment to land properly. He sat across from me, set a data slate on the table, did not slide it, just set it down.
This ship was contracted to a 2063 mission. Shadow support. Designation redacted.
Okay.
The departure coordinates match the ones Dr. Ose has been sitting on.
I set the coffee down. Slowly. The way you set something down when your hands have decided, before the rest of you, that they are no longer to be trusted with it.
Something pulled this ship back before launch. The Ardennes went alone.
He let the silence do its work. Tomás is one of the few men I've ever met who genuinely understands silence. The difference between using it as a weapon and using it as a room. This was a room. He was waiting for me to step into it. How sure are you?
Manifest is original Clavius. Hull number matches. Contract dated August 2063. Mission codes redacted at 3 layers. Coordinates aren't.
Show me. He turned the slate. The contract was real. The hull number was the one stamped into the bulkhead 3 meters above my head. The coordinates were the ones Amara had carried in her pocket for 3 years, the ones we had pointed our nose at in the small hours of yesterday morning. I had spent 8 years not knowing the ship I flew was supposed to die in 2063. Tomás found it in 2 days. I said the only thing I could think to say. My father worked on this hull design.
I know.
Selene Industrial, before Clavius bought the patent and built her.
I know that too.
He had known all of that for years. He had never asked me about it. Tomás does not collect information about his crew to use. He collects it to understand. There is a difference, and most people I have known in my life have not understood the difference. He stood up, picked up the slate, paused.
We need to talk, not here.
Engineering deck. 20 minutes. He nodded once and was gone. I sat alone in the galley with a cooling coffee and a ship that had been waiting 42 years for me to figure out what she was. Chapter 3. 8 years. The engineering deck was Tomás' territory by choice. He kept it the way a craftsman keeps a workshop. Every tool in the place where his hand expected it to be, every cable run dressed and labeled. The air filtered to a slightly higher standard than the rest of the ship because the recyclers were down here and he refused to live with anyone else's mistakes. When I came down the ladder, he was already against the aft bulkhead, sitting on the deck plate with his legs stretched out in front of him. He patted the deck beside him without looking up. I sat down. We were side by side, not opposite. Because the things you say sitting next to someone are different from the things you say across from them. He had chosen the geometry on purpose. He always did. The recyclers hummed in the walls. The ship coasted through the dark at 1/10 of the speed of light. And on the engineering deck of the Meridian Fault, 2 men sat against a bulkhead and prepared to have a conversation that one of them had been avoiding for 8 years.
8 years? You've never once told me where we were going before we got there.
I know.
I never asked. That was the deal.
That was the deal.
I'm asking now.
I did not have a clever answer. That was the part I had not been prepared for. I had spent the walk down here building 3 or 4 versions of charm, and when I sat down next to him, every one of them dissolved. I don't know how this ends.
That's not what I asked.
I know. I'm telling you anyway. I don't know how it ends. I know why I'm doing it. There's a signal out there that's been broadcasting since before I was born. Cross was on the only ship that ever went to look at it. He's the only one who came back. Amara found it again, and now she's the only person alive who knows it's still there. If we don't go, nobody goes.
That's why you're going.
Yeah.
That's not why this ship is going.
He let that one sit. I had walked into it without seeing it. He had been waiting all morning for me to walk into it. No, it isn't.
She was contracted to that mission, Declan. Your father's hull. My drive, Saya at navigation. You at the stick. We are the ship that was supposed to go in 2063 and didn't, going to the place she was supposed to go, 42 years late.
I didn't know that until this morning.
I believe you.
He said it flat. No mercy in it, no judgment in it. Just the fact. Tomás does not give absolution. He gives accuracy, which in my experience is rarer and worth more.
Lena's birthday was 4 days ago.
Tomás.
I'm not asking you to turn around. I sent her the message before we undocked. She knows I'll be late. She's used to it.
That's not. You shouldn't have to.
I'm telling you so you know what the cost is. Not so you can fix it.
He looked over at me then for the first time since I'd sat down.
Whatever's out there, whatever we find, you make sure it was worth her being 13 without me at the table.
Yeah.
Good.
He stood up, wiped his hands on his trousers, although there was nothing on them, looked down at me one more time.
I'll have the coils ready for the next sprint.
He went back to his work. I sat on the engineering deck for a long time after he left. If you're still with me, and the dark is just getting started, do me a favor. Subscribe, leave a comment, tell me which character you're tracking, because what's coming up next is the one I have been most afraid to write, and I would rather not walk into it alone. Saya Kato is about to tell me who she actually is, and I am about to find out whether I'm the kind of man who can hear it. Chapter 4. What she walked away from. I found her in the storage bay on the evening of day 4. I had been looking for her without admitting it for most of the afternoon. The kind of search you run by walking past every hatch that might contain the person you are pretending not to need to find. She was doing maintenance that did not need doing. Inventory check on the emergency rations. The seals had been logged green at Ganymede. She was logging them green again. It was Saya's version of pacing. I had seen it before. I had not, until that moment, recognized it as such. She heard me come in. She did not turn.
You finally came down here.
You knew I would.
I hoped you wouldn't. I knew you would.
She set the slate down on the crate, squared it with the edge. Then she turned. Tanaka.
Yes.
All of it. She looked at me for a long moment. Saya does not buy time when she's deciding what to say. She buys time when she's deciding whether to say it. There is a difference, and the difference is what makes her dangerous.
SDC Intelligence, Outer Systems Division. I was 18.
For how long?
4 years. 2 of them embedded with civilian survey crews, reporting on independent contractors who were operating near classified belt zones.
Independent contractors?
Yes.
Like me.
I was never assigned to you. I knew your name from the files. I never wrote a report on you. That part is true.
She said, that part is true. The way some people say the date, without weight, as if it were the kind of fact that could be checked, and she had nothing to gain from it being checked wrong. When did you walk?
3 years ago. The program was restructured. I was given the option to leave. I left.
Did Tanaka run the program?
He ran the program.
He saw you in the lab.
He saw me before that. He saw me when I came aboard your ship 2 years ago. He has seen me every time I have crossed Ganymede since.
And he's never...
Acknowledging me would have confirmed I existed in that room. He chose not to. That was a courtesy. He doesn't owe me one.
She watched my face the way a navigator watches a star track. Looking for drift. Looking for the moment the heading changes. I had one question. I had walked in with one question. Everything else could wait. Are you reporting now?
No.
Silent.
I walked, Declan. I walked because I had stopped being able to tell which of the people I was lying to deserved it. I am not on his ledger. I have not been for 3 years. I will not be again.
She held my eyes. Steady. Not pleading. Saya does not plead. She presents the facts and lets you decide what to do with them. And whatever you decide, she will live inside. Okay.
Okay, what?
Okay. I believe you. Something in her shoulders moved 1/4 of a centimeter. From anyone else, it would have been nothing. From Saya, it was the closest thing to relief I had ever seen her allow herself.
You shouldn't.
I know.
That's not wisdom.
I know. She picked the slate back up, squared it again with the edge of the crate, even though it was already square. The conversation was over. She had decided it was over, which meant it was.
Declan.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking me directly. The last person who knew didn't.
I left her there. I did not know, walking back up the spine, whether I had just done something wise or something I would pay for. I was not sure those were different things anymore. Chapter 5. The third point. The lab on the Meridian Fault was not designed to be a lab. It was designed to be a survey suite. 3 workstations, a fabricator bench, and a wall of drone telemetry feeds. Amara had turned it into something else in the 4 days since we had undocked. There were data slates on every flat surface. Cross had claimed the corner workstation. The two of them had not, by my count, slept at the same time once. I came in on the morning of day 5. They didn't notice me. I leaned in the hatch and watched.
Run it again.
I've run it 4 times. The reading is real. 2089. Belt survey drone. Telemetry tag was filed under instrument fault and never reviewed.
Same frequency band?
Same band, same modulation, same Amara. It is the same signal. It hasn't drifted. Not in 26 years.
Cross.
I know.
It hasn't drifted in 42 years.
Exactly. And that's what annoys me.
She turned away from the screen, pressed her palms flat against the bench. She did not say anything for a long time. I had known Amara for 9 years, in 3 different jobs, and 1 entirely separate life. I had never seen her go quiet at data. She went quiet at people. Data she argued with.
Whatever it is, it does not age.
No.
It does not drift.
No.
That is not how natural sources behave.
No. It cannot be natural.
He said it carefully. Cross says everything carefully, but this carefully had a different shape to it. It was the carefulness of a man who had said this exact sentence 42 years ago in a different room, to a different crew, and watched what it had cost them.
In 2063, they thought it was equipment malfunction.
Who's they?
Everyone on the Ardennes, except me.
Amara looked at him, the kind of look she gives when she is recalibrating her opinion of someone in real time and has decided to let them see her do it.
Is that why you went?
That's one reason why I went. The main reason.
And that's why you're here now?
That's why I have always been here, Dr. Osei. From the moment you walked into the cryo bay on Ceres, I have been here. I went to sleep with this question. I woke up with it. There has not been a day in between.
He said it without theater. Cross does not perform 42 years. He just carries them. There is a difference. I left them to it. I'd walked in expecting to ask whether they needed anything and walked out understanding that what they needed was something I could not give them. They needed the answer. They had been needing it, between the two of them, for a combined 76 years. Chapter 6. Because somebody has to. Late ship night on day 5, coast cycle, the hull ticking through its slow thermal exhale. I had taken the cockpit watch because I could not sleep, and pretending to be on duty was easier than pretending to want to be in my bunk. The belt was ahead of us. Not the inner belt. That was already behind. The deep belt. The dark part. The part where the rocks are far enough apart that the running lights on the fault did not catch a single one of them in any direction, for as far as the optics could see. I had a coffee I was not drinking. I had the data feed up on the secondary console. Amara's signal, threaded through the diagnostic stream, almost invisible if you didn't know what you were looking for. A pulse. A pulse. A pulse. 42 years of pulses, every one of them identical to the last. I heard the hatch. I didn't turn. Amara came up the spine without saying anything. She slid into the navigator's seat, Saya's seat at any other hour, and folded her legs under her the way she used to when we had done this on a different ship, in a different decade, in a version of our lives that neither of us talked about anymore. She didn't say anything for a long time. Neither did I. We had done this before. The grammar of it came back without effort, which was its own kind of warning. She was watching the data feed. She had spotted the signal in the diagnostic stream within 10 seconds of sitting down. Of course she had.
It's been going for 42 years without us.
Yeah?
It'll keep going whether we show up or not.
So why are we going?
Because somebody has to.
She didn't say it like an answer. She said it like a fact she had been carrying for so long it had stopped being a question. I thought about Tomás on the engineering deck, telling me the cost without asking me to fix it. I thought about Saya in the storage bay, squaring the slate against the edge of the crate, deciding I was a person she could tell the truth to. I thought about Cross at the observation port, watching Ganymede shrink for the second time in his life. I thought about the Meridian Fault, my father's hull, Tomás's drive, Saya at navigation, me at the stick, flying the route she was contracted for in 2063, 42 years late, with the only man who had survived the first attempt to sleep 2 decks below us. I thought about the signal. A pulse, a pulse, a pulse. Older than me. Older than any of us except Cross. Patient. Indifferent. Waiting for nobody, including us. And I understood, sitting there next to Amara in the dark, that we had stopped pretending we might turn back. Somewhere between slot 41 and the deep belt, without any of us saying it out loud, the question had changed. It was no longer whether we were going. It was what we were going to do when we got there.
Declan,
Yeah,
don't make a joke right now.
I wasn't going to.
Good.
We sat in the cockpit and watched the dark. The signal pulsed under the data feed. The Fault flew on into the place she had been built to go, 42 years late and not alone this time. I'm Declan Shaw. This was Saul's Edge, Episode 4, Into the Dark. If you've been with me from Episode 1, you already know what we're flying toward. If you're new, start at the beginning. The signal has been going for 42 years. It can wait 3 more episodes for you to catch up. Subscribe so the next one finds you. Leave a comment and tell me whose voice stayed with you tonight. Tomás on the engineering deck, Saya in the storage bay, Cross in the lab, or Amara in the dark. I read them. They shape what comes next. We have several days of coast left before we hit the coordinates. Tanaka has not started asking yet. The ship is quiet. The crew is not pretending anymore. I'll see you on the other side of the burn. Somebody has to.